Welcome to your daily dose of Sunday School, episode 87. We continue with Greg Koukl's Tactics. We're on chapter 13. We're going to finish up taking the roof off, which is all about the Reductio ad Absurdum. We're going to take the other person's argument and try to apply it to the rest of life and show where it is contradictory, where it doesn't make any sense. He gives lots of examples, so let's look at several of those. He talks about, it's often argued if Christians are saying that homosexuality is a sin, that, well, it's natural. And that used to be the big thing all the time, like, well, scientists think they might have found a gene for homosexuality, something like that. And so therefore, the argument goes, if it's natural, then you shouldn't be saying it's immoral. And so the reductio ad absurdum there is to say something like, okay, well, what if they find a gene for discriminating against gays or like hating gays? What if there's a gene that relates to that? Then does that mean that's okay too? Well, of course not. You're pushing their own argument to the point of absurdity so they can see it. Morality is the thing that keeps us from doing what comes natural and living in a terrible world where everyone is just following their own selfish inclinations. So we don't want to live in that sort of world. Here's one that he claimed. I've heard of this before. I didn't think it actually existed, but I think I probably had some better professors in college than a lot of people. It's still hard for me to believe that a college professor would take a piece of chalk and say, if God exists, then he could stop this chalk from hitting the ground and then drop it. Like, that just seems really dumb. It said the reductio ad absurdum to that is for the student to say that if I exist, I could stop this pencil from hitting the ground and then dropping it without catching it, of course. Say, well, if you believe in me, if you believe I exist, you're a fool. It's the same thing. It has to be referring to yourself because you have the ability to stop that pencil from falling, just as God has the ability to stop the chalk from falling. But just because God doesn't stop the chalk does not mean that he's going to, just because some college professor tells him to jump through a hoop or something. For abortion, he says you should always bring out the toddler, right? Because there's no difference between infanticide, between killing a small child and killing a baby. No difference. It's just a different location, different level of development, different level of dependency. So if someone, for instance, says, well, abortion needs to be legal because, we don't want children who are going to be abused to come into the world and suffer. That's when you bring out the 2-year-old. Not literally, but you say, oh, yeah. So, like, if there was a 2-year-old and, they're still not fully cognitively aware, but we find out they're being abused, we should kill them before they realize how bad their life is. Well, no, that's obviously not the solution to child abuse or any other. That doesn't, it shows the absurdity of any other argument for abortion. You're pushing that claim to show how absurd it is. Another one. To believe in conservation and to believe in evolution, those two things don't work together. Especially, particularly if we're talking about naturalistic evolution. If somebody's worried about, well, the planet's going to become uninhabitable, well, what's that to me? If I can enjoy my life now, and, the planet becomes uninhabitable later, it's not going to be completely uninhabitable, and just the strongest humans will be able to adapt to that. The strongest animals will too. What do I care about the weak? What do I care about species of animals that can't make it? That's just no concern of mine. That would be an evolutionary mindset. Similar thing, why would someone who believes in evolution worry about animal pain? That doesn't make any sense. Why would they worry about any other species going extinct? That just makes more room for my genetic material to multiply and fill the earth. And here's one more. I think this is a really good one. You're arguing from the Bible, and someone says, that's just your interpretation. Well, apparently now we can't understand words, so the next thing that they say, you could say something like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that you think that we should kill all old people and harvest their minerals. I don't know. Something terrible like that. I didn't say that. What are you talking about? Well, that was my interpretation of what you said, and anybody can interpret anything anyway now. Well, you have to explain. Look, if you disagree with my interpretation of the Bible, tell me why. Because there is a right interpretation of everything and a wrong interpretation.